My name is Shoaib Folabi Salisu. I represent the good people of Ogun Central Senatorial District. I am from Ogun State, the nation's industrial capital. Today, I stand to move a motion to urge the federal government to halt the sale of Lafarge Cement PLC to Chinese investors in the national interest. Mr. President, if I have your permission, I will proceed with the motion.
Yes, proceed.
The Senate notes that Lafarge Cement PLC, one of Nigeria's foremost cement manufacturing companies, plays a critical role in the construction and industrial sectors, contributing significantly to the country's economic growth and development. Also note that the company is located in a Wekoro local government of Ogun State, an area adjudged to be one of Nigeria's largest deposits of limestone as an essential raw materials in cement production. Further note that Lafarge Cement PLC has been a key player in job creation, infrastructure development, and industrial expansion within Nigeria, making it a critical national asset. Observe that there are ongoing plans for divestment of the company, reportedly involving Chinese investors, which has raised concerns about the potential for foreign dominance over such a strategic sector in the Nigerian economy. Also observe that Holistic AG is set to sell its 83.8% stake in Lafarge Africa to Chinese cement maker Ogun Cement Company in a deal that values Lafarge Africa at $1 billion, a deal which is set to be finalized in 2025, subject to regulatory approval. Aware that the cement manufacturing industry is a critical sector directly linked to national security due to its significance in infrastructure development, including construction of roads, bridges, housing, and other vital public works. Also aware that the dominance of foreign ownership in such a sensitive sector poses risks to Nigeria's economic sovereignty and national security interests. Further aware that several local investors and stakeholders have expressed interest in participating in the divestment process, but they have raised concerns about transparency and their limited access to equitable shares. Concern that about the long-term economic implications of foreign-dominated ownership of Lafarge Cement PLC, including capital flight, job losses, and potential challenges to regulating the activities of foreign-owned entities in the strategic sector. We are also concerned that Nigeria has seen increasing foreign acquisition of key industries, raising fears of excessive reliance on external entities for critical components of national development. Further concerned that allowing foreign investors to dominate such a vital sector without significant local participation undermines Nigeria's efforts to build a self-reliant economy. Recalls that Section 16 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, emphasizes the need to ensure that the economic system does not result in the concentration of wealth or means of production in the hands of a few individuals or foreign entities. And also recall that the federal government, through its policies, has consistently promoted the empowerment of local investors to stimulate domestic economic growth and industrialization, accordingly resolves to urge the federal government to immediately intervene in the ongoing sale of Lafarge Cement PLC and ensure that the divestment process prioritizes national security and economic sovereignty of Nigeria. Also urge the federal government to halt any agreement that will result in the sale of the majority or controlling shares of Lafarge Cement PLC to foreign investors, particularly Chinese entities, until a thorough national security assessment is conducted. Call on the relevant authorities, including the Bureau of Public Enterprises and the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, to ensure that the divestment process is transparent and allows for equitable participation by Nigerian investors and stakeholders. I encourage the federal government to develop a framework that ensures local investors hold a reasonable percentage in the ownership of strategic industry, including but not limited to Lafarge Cement PLC. And finally, mandate the Committee on Capital Markets to engage with stakeholders, including Lafarge Cement PLC, the Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment, and other relevant agencies to ensure compliance with these resolutions and report back to the Senate within stipulated time. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I urge you to support this motion. I so move.
Ola Solomon Olamilekan, representing Ogun West Senatorial District in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President, I want to thank the prime mover of this all-important motion. And the prayer said it all. And what we are asking for, as you're all aware in the body of the motion, this is one company that has been in existence over 50 years. This is one of the biggest cement company in Nigeria and in the sub-Saharan Africa. This is one company that, one way or the other, has impacted the Nigerian economy through various involvement in various sectors of the Nigerian economy. Mr. President, the company is about to be de-invested. And the transaction has been shrouded in secrecy. We are asking, and what the motion is simply asking for, we want this transaction to be as transparent as possible, where Nigerian investors and stakeholders can be given equal level of participation in the sale of this all-important company. Mr. President, and we are seeking the leave of this Senate to get involved to the extent of mandating our various committees in the Senate, which include Committee on Capital Markets and also Security and Exchange Commission, the Committee on Trade and Investment, to look into this transaction and to look into this transaction so as to ensure that all that is needed to be done to the level that any Nigerian who is capable and who is also interested can be given a level playing field, so that by the time the eventual sale of this company is done, we will be fully satisfied that it has been done with much level of transparency, much level of cooperation, and to the extent that Nigeria's economy will be protected, to the extent in as not ensuring that another foreign investor is taking away one of our long-standing birthright in Lafarge company. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I urge this Senate to support this position so that we can allow our standing committee to work closely with the Federal Government Committee on Consumer and Protection Council, so that at the end of the day, we can have a report that is all-inclusive and transparent to the extent of the direct investment of $1 billion in Lafarge company. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I so submit.
Yes, distinguished Senator.
My distinguished colleagues, as good, as beautiful, as well-crafted this motion on the sales of company is, we must be guided, whether we are in tandem with the submissions made, we have to be guided as a Senate. We cannot convert the Senate to a sales company or bureau of public enterprise. The laws of Nigeria are very clear. Agencies of government have been established by laws, and one of which is Bureau of Public Enterprise. And we cannot sit at the Senate to judge them as being unfair or transparent in commercial transactions. So, Mr. Senate President, I do think that there should also be right of egress, right to enter into contract freely, and right to leave contract at will. The Senate should not be an impediment to a free-flow democratic stage of any company in Nigeria, the Senate should converge to see the sanctity of contracts, not to be an impediment to the contract or be the sales agent. Our committee have no business whatsoever. When a company wants to divest, it can divest freely, but the issue of transparency of government shares, can be captured by our oversight function. But individuals selling have no anything to do with the Senate. It's on this ground, Mr. Senate President, that I want to say very clearly that we must be very, because I'm from the private sector, and I have a lot of experience in sales and buying of government assets, and I know the consequences that come with it, particularly in a nation that converges itself without free flow of economy. So my summary, Mr. Senate President, is that there must be a right of free sales, and the Senate cannot be an impediment to government transactions. So there's a Bureau of Public Enterprise that is established by law who anchor with responsibility of selling government assets. So this Senate cannot be the selling agent of government assets, but we can capture the oversight function where it's reported to us that the transaction is not transparent or have some impediments. I urge your presidency to ensure that the Senate does not sit as selling agents or looking at transactions here and there, looking for nothing. This thing has not been sold. Wait until it's sold, and then let the agency of government responsible in the executive arm of the government be the one to do their transaction. We are not transactional Senate. This is not a transactional Senate, Mr. President. This is a law-making Senate. And the integrity of this Senate is very high now within Nigerians. We are not here to begin to conduct sales transaction on company basis. I so submit, Mr. President. Thank you very much for the time given to me.
Already worried me, where they said that the supposed intended sale is shrouded in secrecy. So if it is shrouded in secrecy, how did we manage to find out? Did we use witchcraft? So that is the aspect I would like the mover of the motion to explain. If it's shrouded in secrecy, how did you know about it? Because if it is in a law court, they will say that the matter is not yet due for adjudication. That's what I'm saying. You're not hearing me. I'm saying that as far as we are concerned, there is no sale. And so if the intention is shrouded in secrecy, it means that the matter is not yet due for discussion by the Senate. However, let me hear from Senator Karimi. Since it's shrouded in secrecy, I want you to explain, how did you get to know?
Okay, thanks. My name is Karimi Sunday Steve. I represent the people of Kogi West. Mr. President, I want to believe that Ozim AG is a private group, enterprise, and they own 83.3% stake in that company. While Odua Group has less than 17%. The person that has 83.3% stake, sir, wants to sell his shares. And he has the right to sell his shares to whomsoever. If you want to buy it, you put yourself together on Odua Group and go and look for money. You cannot use government fiat to take over somebody's shares. That would be wrong. Business has to be transparent. A private concern wants to sell his shares, and you are bringing government law. You want to take over his share. Go back to your people, look for funds, raise money, and go and buy it. That is the simple truth, sir. You can, all this your prayer here cannot stand. It cannot stand. Government, you are just trying to use government to take over somebody's business. That is wrong. And this Senate will not allow that. Thank you, sir.
Adama South. I rise to align my position with the Professor of War on this matter. Distinguished colleagues, as the last speaker, the last distinguished senator has stated, This company is a public company listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange with shareholders. It is a company that has changed form over the years. At one point, this company was known as WAPCO, West African Cement, Portland Cement Company. So, and it has changed co-ownership. And companies will continue to evolve. And as investors reassess their standing in the companies, they will decide to exit. And they will find some other co-investor that will take over their own ownership. The motion has stated that the current co-investor is a foreign company, and the proposed new investor that is going to take over is another foreign company. So it is one foreign company taking over from another foreign company. What I don't want us to do is to give the impression that foreign investors, when they come with foreign direct investments, that when they want to exit, we can put impediments on their path. So, Mr. President, I want us to be cautious about this and not give the very wrong impression that we are hampering foreign investment. Thank you, sir.
So, the discussion in issue. A senator cannot contribute twice. So if you had something to educate us, you should have done so when you had the opportunity. Otherwise, you do so in Yewa. Yes, the sponsor can respond. Yes. Yes? By our rules, you can put some lights.
Number one, nobody is asking for a fiat to even determine who should buy the shares. The second point we also want to make, Ogun State is industrial capital for a reason, meaning that the environments have been conducive enough for investors to come simply because the environment has not presented any hurdles. However, let's put it this way. There are certain areas of our national life that are considered to be strategic, and that's why we have the local content law as an example. We do not say, as an example, that anybody can come into oil and gas, buy shares, and move on. We said there should be some local content. As it's applicable to oil, it's also applicable to solid minerals. Particularly at a time the federal government is looking at some other forms of diversification of our economy, and they are looking in the direction of solid minerals. We are not saying the company cannot divest, no. We're not even trying to determine for them who they sell to, no. We're not intervening in what the sales price of the share should be, no. What we are saying, and that's why it's important to listen carefully, Senator Karimi, what we are saying is that the process for that transfer should be equitable enough to allow local investors who also want to invest. Senator, I have the floor. We're saying this mineral that has been exploited is in Ogun State. And there are local investors who are saying, you cannot just come and explore our solid minerals the same way you cannot just explore oil and gas and simply say you are transferring. There is some principle of local content that's applicable here. Once the process is transparent, we do not care who buys, but let the opportunity exist for those who suffer the immediate degradation of the environment to say, if you are exiting, we provided you the environment. This company over the years had been an investment outlet of Odua, which is for the entire Southwest. If you are divesting, and there are local investors who say, we want to buy, let the process be equitable and transparent enough. If they fail in their bid, as long as the process is transparent, we are okay with it. That is what I think, clarification I wanted to make.
I think you have now hit the nail on the head. You are not against, look at the prayer and very quickly come to conclusion. Prayer 1, urge the federal government to immediately intervene in the ongoing sale of Lafarge Cement PLC and ensure that the divestment process prioritizes national security and economic sovereignty. Amendment, yes, Senator Izunaso.
My name is Senator Osita Zunaso, I represent.
Prayer 1 is amended to say urge the Bureau of Public Enterprises in collaboration with Securities and Exchange Commission to immediately intervene and look into this proposal to ensure that the processes then are transparent and also prioritizes national and economic security and sovereignty of the nation. Those in support of the prayer as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Secretariat, I hope you got the amendment very well. In fact, I think that should even be the only prayer. That should suffice. So, distinguished colleagues, we can now overlook prayer 2 to 5. Those in support that we overlook prayer 2 to 5 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Additional prayer, Mr. President.
Yes.
Additional prayer.
Because, distinguished colleagues,
Yes.
what you have just done is to say, if you want to sell, we do not mind, but open the process so that others can partake and take care of local content and external regulations, and also be sure that the process is transparent and then prioritizes national security and also looks at national interest, and outside that also the sovereignty of the nation is not compromised.
Additional prayer, sir.
If there's any additional prayer, go ahead.
Mr. President, because we have a particular instance at under consideration, mandate the Senate Committee on Capital Market to engage with stakeholders, including the SEC and the Bureau of Public Enterprises, to ensure that the process complying with the resolution number 1 above. Meaning that the Committee on Capital Market should be given the responsibility to ensure the compliance with this resolution so that the resolution is not in vain. I so move.
Any seconder?